please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I'll be just fine.
Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the roll, please.
Mayor Bailey?
Here.
Mr. Bateman?
Here.
Goodyear?
Here.
Mr. Hart?
Here.
Mr. Ori?
Here.
Vice Mayor Phelps? Mr. Ping?
Here.
Welcome, everyone. With us tonight, we have our Director of Finance, Mark Medler, Assistant City Manager, Chris Weinich, Clerk of Council, Misty Clark, City Manager, Dave Kennedy, City Solicitor, Joe Braun, our Captain, Dan Gangwar, Chief of Police, Michael Gabrielson. Hiding in the back is our Engineer, Kelsey Richards, and many members, esteemed members of our Loveland Police Department. Wonder why they're here tonight. And former council members Pat Mays, Kent Blair, and Todd Osborne. I think that's everyone. So welcome. So without further ado, Captain.
Thank you, Mayor Bailey, City Manager Kennedy, Assistant City Manager Weinich, and Council. Thank you for having us here tonight. Also with our gallery. Thank you very much. It's always a great opportunity to be in front of Council for the hiring of new employee. We thank you for your dedication to our police department and affording us the ability to fill our ranks. There are other places that do not do that, and we thank you very much for that. Tonight, we're here to welcome our newest police officer, Madeline Erb. Madeline was born and raised in Harrison, Ohio, and graduated from William Henry Harrison High School. After high school, she attended Defiance University to study criminal justice and psychology and played collegiate softball. She also attended Miami University. After college, she became a clerk for the Harrison Bureau of Motor Vehicles and worked there for 6 years. In 2022, she put herself through the police academy at Butler Tech. While there, she earned the Brian Dooley Award, which is given to outstanding cadets. After completing the academy, she was hired by the city of North College Hill, where she became involved with the start of their drone program. And here she is now. Here with her today are her parents, John and Julie, sisters Abby and Emily, nephews Braxton and Connor, brother-in-laws CJ and Mike, girlfriend Haley Eccles, and her parents, Jim and Jennifer. And isn't it wonderful that she's got such a support group on such a great day? I think that's awesome. Thank you very much. Now I will introduce the mayor for the swearing in. If you'd step up, please.
Right here. That is, I think you have the biggest support group we've ever seen here, which is impressive. So thank you all for being here. We appreciate it. I don't know if you've been here. I don't think so when we've done this. And I just sort of remind you and everyone that the reason we do this is so that our community can get to know who you are and council can get to know who you are, because otherwise hopefully we won't meet you out on the street for any reason that we shouldn't be meeting you. But we want everybody to know who you are and you know us, and kind of just, we've probably been here long enough to realize this already, but we think we have a pretty special community, and we very much appreciate the relationship that our police department and police officers have with our community and our community members. So we're sure you will be a important part of that as well. So welcome. I'm glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I state your name.
I, Madeline Erb,
Solemnly swear that I will
solemnly swear that I will
support the Constitution
support the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution
and the Charter and ordinances
and the Charter and ordinances
of the City of Loveland,
of the City of Loveland,
and will obey the laws thereof,
and it will obey the laws thereof,
and will faithfully discharge
and will faithfully discharge
the duties of police officer
the duty of police officer
upon which I'm about to enter.
upon of which I am about to enter.
Congratulations. Welcome.
I'm very grateful to be here in this beautiful city from where I came from. I'm very excited to being able to serve and protect you guys as best of my ability. So thank you so much for having me.
Glad you're here. Welcome. Good to see you.
Well, congratulations.
Should we do a picture?
I think that might be a
Pictures?
good idea.
Pictures.
Oh, that's the one. That's a very good. How are you?
You got to squeeze them. All right, how about, yes, say, how about we hear all her family? And the good news is you don't have to stay. We will understand if you go. Truly. You're welcome to stay.
Everyone goes.
But no one stays.
Everyone stays.
Thank you for having
Why
me.
would you ever stay?
Hey, God.
That's right. Go celebrate.
You guys are.
Yeah.
You picture Mark.
I got mine for the way. Soon a little volleyball.
All right, next I would invite council members Kip Ping and Andy Bateman to the podium, please.
Please do it.
Sure.
And also, let's see. So this is,
I give you one.
what are we doing first? The Lewis G. Rockwood Community Service Volunteer Award, and the criteria are that this award seeks to recognize the time and accomplishments of volunteers serving the city.
Thank you, Mayor. On behalf of Councilman Bateman and myself, we discussed who we thought might be a good fit for this award, and chose Cindy as a good example of that. So I'm going to read the recommendation that we made. Cindy Kessler is a passionate volunteer with a mindset focused on the betterment of the community. She was on the original Tree Committee, now the Tree and Environment Committee, about 40 years ago, and served there for many years before taking a break while raising her family. More recently, she approached staff and council in January of 2022 regarding ways to improve the community's aesthetics. Since then, she took the initiative to create highly detailed presentations with ideas primarily centered on lighting and landscaping within the city. She presented each of these to each council member. Myself, I visited her home where she showed me that. Planning and zoning, and Mr. Kennedy. These presentations were well thought out. And they surely took a great deal of time to prepare given the amount of detail that was in each, and the research was apparent in the presentations. She provided examples of ordinances from other communities, ideas on how we might scale those to a city of our size, and most importantly, the reasons why these matters are important to Loveland and its residents. The city's lighting ordinance, which will serve as a vehicle that can produce better lighting aesthetics for years to come, has been passed by council at this point. Its effects can be seen in many new lighting projects, including those on the recently renovated bridge and on Loveland Avenue. When the city hired Assistant Public Works Director Sean Hartness in 2023, one of his assigned tasks was to create and implement a tree program for the city. Both the lighting ordinance and in addition to having the tree program, are direct results of Cindy's initiative and work as a volunteer. She is an ideal person to receive a volunteer award for community service. And so with that, we welcome.
Congratulations. Just come up here, right?
I'm absolutely honored. Thank you so very much. I care very much about Loveland in every aspect, and I was a professional artist for 40 years, so aesthetics is very important to me, and I do believe that lighting and trees, landscaping overall makes a huge difference. Thank you.
We're going to do a picture.
That's new.
People.
Let's
Let's take it out of the box.
Oh, yeah. Up, Cindy.
All right, next is the Business Enhancement Award. The criteria for that is that it's given to a business in the city of Loveland, and the recipient will have demonstrated an increase in business, increased the number of employees on the payroll, and exhibited the most effort to enhance the aesthetics of their property through a combination of renovation, building additions, painting, or beautification projects. And Council Member John Hart will take this one.
Thank you, Mayor. It is my absolute honor to bring up Dana here from DVD Brewing. Come on up here, Dana, please. Dana obviously is the owner and operator of DVD Brewing, so I'm going to read my recommendation here. DVD Brewing is an exceptional candidate for the 2025 Loveland Business Enhancement Award due to their remarkable transformation of the previous home of a car wash into a vibrant and thriving community hub. Their project has significantly enhanced the Loveland Madeira corridor and positively impacted the city of Loveland. From a transformative renovation perspective, DVD Brewing has taken a complete renovation of a former car wash, converting it into a beautifully designed and welcoming brewery. The architectural and design improvements have dramatically improved the visual appeal of the location, creating a significant aesthetic upgrade to the Loveland Madeira Road southern limits. From a community gathering space perspective, by establishing a family-friendly brewery, I've taken my own kids there on multiple occasions, so I can attest to that. DVD Brewing has created a valuable gathering space for residents and visitors alike. This has fostered a sense of community and provided a new destination for social interaction. They have already provided opportunities for charitable fundraising for large organizations as well as local efforts. The revitalization of the former car wash has served as a crucial anchor at the southern end of the city limits of the Southern Madeira Road. This enhancement has contributed to the overall improvement and revitalization of the corridor, signaling a positive investment in the area. The removal of the old car wash and replacement with an attractive building has greatly improved the look of the section of Loveland Madeira Road. This contributes to the continued efforts towards the streetscape of the corridor in general. In conclusion, DVD Brewing's dedication to transforming a neglected space into a valuable community asset makes him highly deserving recipient of the 2025 Loveland Business Enhancement Award. Their project exemplifies the spirit and innovation and community improvement that this award seeks to recognize.
Can I open it?
Please.
I guess, first of all, I'm looking around here and I apologize for my apparel here. Everyone's got nice suits on and kind of underdressed.
You're fine.
second of all, on behalf of the entire DVD Brew team, we can't thank you enough for awarding us this award, and I'm sure there are other businesses out there that were as well deserved. But thank you. And secondly, or thirdly, I guess, I see a lot of faces here that have been out to the brewery and participated with a lot of our events. We really appreciate that. I see a lot of faces here also that I have not seen out there. So please come out. Thank you again. Greatly appreciated.
Yeah, keep making the beer.
One day at a time.
Let's get one of the three of us here.
She's a little chilly. Might be chilly. Like 40 at night. A couple nights.
That's okay. That's kind of recognize him as the guest bartender. You know, it might be a little cold. Might maybe 50.
Yeah, put on pants and socks.
I just came from home. Yeah. I have to have two parents come to walk me out.
Glad you're here. All right, you don't have to say.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, thanks. Misty, can you send me this?
Yes, sir.
Really?
It's true.
All right, next we have a proclamation. We have John Robinson, who's the chair of our Tree and Environment Committee here. So he can hear this proclamation. I ask that we do this. Whereas in 1872, the Nebraska Board of Agriculture established a special day to be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. And whereas trees can be a solution to combating climate change by reducing the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cutting heating and cooling costs, moderating the temperature, cleaning the air, producing life-giving oxygen, and providing habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now, therefore, I, Kathy Bailey, by the power vested in me as mayor, and on behalf of the City of Loveland, Loveland City Council, Loveland Tree and Environment Committee, do hereby proclaim April 25th, 2025, Arbor Day in the City of Loveland, and urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. And thank you, your committee, for all the work that you do in the city, John. We appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, next is open forum, Kaya Bergen.
Thank you. I'm Kaya Bergen, the branch manager of the Loveland Library. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who called the representatives. It really made a difference. They removed the per capita element in their budget they proposed. However, they still wanted to make the PLF a line item. And the number that they have suggested is still $90 million less than what the governor proposed. So we're hoping that the Senate will undo what the House did. So we appreciate that very much. The other thing I want to talk to you about, in 2 weeks, we will have our 25th annual quilt show. We'll have over 80 quilts displayed. So I'm hoping that all of you come out and view the quilts. We'll have a whole day of activities. The open house is next Saturday, the whole day, 10 to 6 that we're open. Then we have a program called Quilt Barn Trails by community member Michael Crossan. He paints quilt barns, so he'll be talking about that journey. And then we will also be having live music by Wild Carrot from 1 to 3. And we do a Lego club every month, but this particular Lego club will be dedicated to our quilt show. So making some quilts out of Legos, which will be cool. And we will also have light refreshments. So I hope to see you all there.
Thank you, Kai. Appreciate it. Mr. Medler.
Thank you, Mayor. Very pleased to announce to you that the city has received the Government Finance Officers Association Distinguished Budget Presentation Award for the 2025 budget that you approved last year. So this is, I believe, 12 years in a row that the city has received this designation. It's very important because the budget is a document that, it doesn't have to just sit on the shelf or be a link somewhere on the website. It really gives a game plan for what the city is going to do in a year. It helps communicate what we're going to do and who we are and what this place is. It's not just a bunch of numbers. It has pictures and it talks about the community. And if somebody's just kind of looking around saying, okay, there's a Loveland in Ohio. Interesting. I think I'll try to check it out. It is a good communication tool for that as well. So it is the second budget that has been prepared with the ClearGov software that was purchased a couple of years ago, which, as you will recall, is a very interactive software that you can click around. And if you get curious about our different funds or different departments that we do, it can really help you to understand and see what they do. So again, just want to say thank you to all the staff members and Mr. Kennedy for his support during this process. This is one of those things that I just keep bugging people, say, hey, it's time again to give us this information. I need these stats. I need this and that. And everybody just rolls their eyes and says, okay, here's the information. But everyone has been, like I said, has been very helpful. And we appreciate your support in getting this award.
Well done. It would be bad if you break this.
Oh.
So it's good.
I wouldn't think of it.
It's good you kept this war going. But truly, you're an understated, somewhat gentleman. But we can't overstate the benefit you bring to the city. We really don't worry about our finances. We know, but with you and Mr. Kennedy working together, and you at the helm of our finances, we are in really good hands. We appreciate very much what you do for us. All right. Next are the minutes from the April 8th meeting. Are there any changes or additions to the minutes?
Make a motion to approve the April 8th minutes.
Second.
Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Goodyear?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mr. Ori?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Ping?
Yes.
Mayor Bailey?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Mr. Kennedy?
So I was actually just thinking, hopefully soon the city will be coming to you with announcement that we received a grant to take down the Denise property. And I was thinking that will be a completely different mood or a different tone than tonight, where we are asking for permission or approval for the expenditure of the Chestnut Street Church, that is obviously a building that played an important role in the city's history, constructed in 1894. But unfortunately, and quite frankly, this is only in front of council because it exceeds the $15,000 spending limit. It is city manager's responsibility to take care of city property. And obviously that we've let this, once we realized that the building had no choice but to be raised, the foundation wall on the south side has collapsed. And when we realized that, in talking to the police department, that the unapproved access into the building has increased at a pretty large pace, and the public works department is just trying to keep the building secure, once we realized that the time had come that the building needed to be raised, we decided that to do it just history is important to leave a lasting monument. So we actually started working with Peggy Schildmeyer and Jim Grethel from Historic Loveland to come up with a way to memorialize the building and the history that it brings forth. And we'll probably be back with that monument. I can't say enough about how Jim Grethel and the Historic Loveland Museum Center was able to capture the role that the church played in the city's history and how much it meant. And if you ever drive down Chestnut, it's not very traveled road. The trees, the mature trees, the yard, and everything down there, you can sort of picture back in the late 1800s or throughout most of the 1900s how much this was a part of the day-to-day lives of its congregation. So moving forward, and it's what we're trying to do is what we will be doing is we will be preserving all the stone. At the houses, the church is on a stone foundation. We'll be preserving and stockpiling those stones to serve as a foundation. That's why if you look at how Jim wrote that, resting on stones from the original church foundation commemorates the importance. So we will be stockpiling that. We are finalizing which exactly will be the design of the monument. But this will allow us to move forward. The building does have asbestos. We are currently having the asbestos removed before we do the raising the structure. So at this point in time, it is my responsibility to make sure that the city, that properties maintained, and we are not putting ourselves in adversely in public safety. So that's all I have on that, Mayor.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Mr. Ori?
I don't know if Pat has been here longer than I have, but between the two of us, we've been here 60-something years. That comes with age. You can't hear right. So I said, I don't know who's been here longer, Pat or myself, but we both have been here for over 60 years. I've been here 68 years. That church, I remember it when I, not so much going to it, but very, very active. And when I, even before I was on council, I was asked to go through the church at one point. And that was 8 years ago, 10 years ago. And at that point, I said, this place cannot be preserved. I mean, and I was in construction business for 40-something years. I hate to see it go, but it's also time. And so I think the placard that the wording you came up with was good. Saving the stone will be great. And it'll be a good monument to show that, the significance of that church. So, yeah.
Anyone else? Mr. Hart?
Just one point and one comment. In the bill, it says 299 Chestnut.
Yeah, it's. I'm sorry, they just got the address. It's not marked or anything.
Okay, all right.
We've actually had conversations with the contractor.
Okay.
You don't want to take down the wrong structure.
That might be a bad move. Not ideal. Yeah. And then just a quick comment. I would say that I want to give some credit to the previous council, previous city managers back in 2012 who had foresight to purchase that before it was taken over by the state of Ohio, as mentioned in the packet here today. I think that was keeping local control of that is going to allow us to commemorate this church in an appropriate manner and do right by the previous congregation. So, kudos to our predecessors for taking up something that needed to be done.
Mr. Bateman?
Yeah, this is it's a somber resolution, certainly, to see something that had such a prominence in our early days have to come down. But Mr. Kennedy, you alluded to it, and it's in your memo in a lot of ways that we've exhausted the possibilities of what this could be. I think we've really tried to determine what the best course of action is, and even in 2012 it was a long shot and a Hail Mary to try to save this, and whether it was through the the various visits I myself have been in there and have helped facilitate conversations around discovering its heritage with HPPC. But this bitter moment is made more sweet with this idea of commemorating it. Certainly, its current state, we're doing a disservice to the historic traditions that's there. The state of the building doesn't. It no longer speaks to it being a hallowed ground, and hopefully this move to make a commemorative monument will better restore that feeling. And I for one, I don't know what the future holds for this property or the property that's adjacent to it, the larger Chestnut property as we call it. But I would love to see this space, as you mentioned, with the tall trees and the very pastoral setting that it has in that residential neighborhood, that might remain and that might stay a sacred, community green space with this monument, so that those passing through will be able to take note of what was once there, and at least recognize that today we had an effort and an attempt to honor what came before us. So again, I'm sad to have to vote for this, but I do think this is the right thing and this is the right time. So thank you for bringing it toward for us today.
Thank you. Any other comment? Yes, Mr. Ping.
Just to kind of add to what's already been said, before I was involved with the city, I was retained by previous city manager Tom Carroll to evaluate the building in my role as a structural engineer in my profession. And this was many years ago, probably about the same time that Mr. Oury was also involved. And as has already been said, the building was in not good shape. In my business, I have the opportunity many times to look at existing buildings, to save existing buildings. We most recently had a courthouse in Troy, Ohio, that we were able to be involved with and stop the wrecking ball from destroying that old historic building. And so it's a good thing when you can find a building that can be restored. And the thing that I often tell people when we have to give them the bad news is it's somewhat like being a doctor. Buildings are like people. They have a life expectancy. And sometimes you just have to know when it's time to say goodbye to an old friend and just let it be and put the monument up and remember what it once was. And so, this has been a long time in coming. I know Mr. Kennedy was tortured by this decision to a certain degree of just not wanting to really do this, but having everybody around him saying it's time. And so certainly I support, I know that you didn't have to come for that purpose, but I certainly support the decision to bring the building down. It's time. And at some point it becomes just like other things, a detriment to the community to try to keep it there because it is becoming unsafe for others to be around. So I certainly support the decision.
Thank you. Anyone else? Vice Mayor?
Yeah, I think what was mentioned in terms of past councils is appreciated. And I've been around council now. It's my 12th year, and I recall distinctly this coming up, and I give credit to our predecessors and the fact that this community cares about historic preservation, and so I don't think it can be accused of making a rash decision here or an insensitive one, insofar as I think a lot of time was provided and ample time for someone, if they could, to come forward with the means and the abilities to do something with the property, but it just didn't happen. And yes, I think the time has come to do what we're doing here. I think it's being done carefully, especially with the monument and its wording. And I think it shows the respect this community has for historic preservation in general, but in particular for churches and houses of worship, which this particular piece of property is rich in. So again, it's a little bittersweet, but at the same time, I'm thinking this is the right time and the right action to take.
Thank you. All right. With that, can you read the resolution, please?
Resolution authorizing the execution of an agreement with citywide remediation and removal for the raising of 225 Chestnut Street.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Goodyear?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mr. Ori?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Ping?
Yes.
Mayor Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Resolution 39 is adopted by a vote of 7-0.
Thank you. Mrs. Richards, or is it Mr. Kennedy?
Chelsea.
It's all you.
All right, so for the 2025 annual road program, we had the bid opening on April 14th, 2025 at 11 a.m. here at the City Council Chamber, and we received 4 bids from J.K. Mayer, Naira Paving, Barrett Paving Materials, and John R. Jurgensen Company. And out of those 4 bids, the J.K. Mayer, they were the lowest bid that we did receive at $1,183,840. This bid, all bids were above the budget, the $800,000, and that is to be expected because we are not sure of the roads that we will be doing, that we typically choose the roads after we receive the bids so we can kind of determine how many roads we can basically do based on the amounts that we receive for each item. And J.K. Mayer, they have worked with us in the past. They have successfully performed the city's 2015 roadway repaving and the heights, the Linda Cox parking lot, the connecting trail project in downtown Loveland in 2016, as well as the 16 to 19, 21 to 22, 23 to 24 street repair programs. So we know that they do good work and they seem to work well with the city. The annual street repair program, it was underfunded for many years, but as early as 2018, approximately 65 lane miles, which is about 60% of the city's roadways, have not been paved within the previous 10 years. The typical lifespan of the asphalt pavement is about 10 to 15 years. And later in 2018, we hired the Stantec to do a thorough analysis of our road conditions, and Stantec found that approximately 55.2% of the city's road network was either failed or poor overall service level condition. So the city began to increase the budget for the annual road maintenance contract, and after those results were identified about 5 years ago. So now we have approximately 25 lane miles, or 24% of our road network, that have not been paved within the previous 10 years. So it's a significant reduction in the volume of deferred resurfacing compared to 2018. So we do recommend for the council to pass a resolution awarding the contract to J.K. Mayer in an amount up to the 2025 budget total of $800,000.
Thank you. Need to add anything, Mr. Kennedy?
No, she did a great job.
I think I would add, because it is a little less than other years, but with the Cherokee project that we're doing, that includes some resurfacing, correct?
I think we never properly estimate projects that the city is doing that includes road programs, such as last year when the East Loveland project included the entire project boundaries being paved. Chris has been working on Cherokee for quite a long time, and that, if you really look at the net pavement completed through the year up and above the road program, it's a significant amount. We had to back it out this year over some grant commitments. We plan to continue as close to the $1 million threshold as we can. We just had to take it through some grant commitments, and that's just what we all do when we're sitting here in the summer. So,
but it's actually, I guess, what point is higher than the
yes,
800?
Yes. Oh, yes, considerably higher.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Any comments or questions? Yes, Mr. Hart.
Just a quick question for. Can you talk a little bit about the decision to go to Linda Cox parking lot instead of some other roads?
No, I think he was talking about that's already been done, and that the J.K. Mayer did Linda Cox.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I misunderstood.
They haven't figured out what we're doing yet.
Gotcha. Misunderstood that. Thank you.
Any other comments? Yes. Vice
Just
Mayor?
what is anticipated in terms of 800,000? What's it going to buy us in terms of the 25 lane miles, excuse me, that haven't been paved in the past 10 years? Will it have it, or a third of it? What?
That we do not know yet. We haven't sat down and actually selected the roads yet. Once we actually get them in contract with J.K. Meering, then we'll sit down and know that we, since we're going with them, we can go line by line item of kind of, because with the bid, we won't be using every single item that we ask them to give us the quotes on, and so we can kind of pick and choose, and again, based on the roads, what we'll be doing for each road, and it'll be kind of a process to go through. So we are currently not sure.
Okay, that'll happen in the next weeks.
Yes.
I'm sure.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Bateman?
Since this is another example, I know in the past we've worked with J.K. Muir where they had an opportunity to renew in the next budget cycle. Do we have any idea of what the 2026 road program looks like from a budget standpoint?
So with them renewing, it will be basically, if we go in contract with them, it would be the same cost for 2026. So it'll be good to kind of secure the cost now for the next year.
But do we have any idea if it'll be like at 800,000? Do we have a sort of framework for that? I'm just curious if it's going to be like the same.
When what we're approving is the quantity, the price per quantity. So that's just the base. So then it's based upon what we decide the number is. Chris and I'll probably start at the million and then adjust it and hold it close. We have projects that we have pending, potentially the streetscape project. And of course, Chris will be with the Love Madeira Road. I can't perceive us going ever below the 800,000 mark. That was the number that they said we needed to maintain for a road our size to stay ahead of it. So that was our commitment this year, is not to go below the 800. I can't fathom that we would do that next year. It's just we're juggling a few things, trying to get some projects done before the sesquicentennial, and then starting them afterwards.
Okay.
So
yeah, I just think that I'm happy about that. I think it's good when it helps with planning. It allows us to understand a little bit more without going through this bid process. So I just was curious if it was going to be like a comp, number between year to year, as opposed to when we had to play catch up a few years ago with a rather big jump from the previous year. So thank you.
Mr. Pink.
There's the table that's in the memo that has the prices for bidding. It's nice to see that came down from the steep increase that happened previously. But I'm just curious, the bid number and the average bid, what is the units on that? It's only $215, so it must be related to something other than the actual bid.
What's the
I
question?
honestly cannot remember right now. I remember doing the table, but
that's all right.
But it was just the average. It's just the average. So it was just a total of all the bids divided by 4. So it's just
right. But I
oh wait, no,
that's fine.
Yeah,
it's just not a terribly important question. I was just curious more than anything.
yeah. It was for the asphalt surface course. Yes, sorry, the asphalt surface course. The average of that.
Does that answer your question, Mr.
Yes.
Cohen? Okay, good. And I do think our goal is to get to the point where we don't have a 25%, where we don't have any roads that are that have not been done in over 10 years. We're just we've certainly lowered it, and that's our goal, is to get it to 0, so that we're just maintaining going forward. And as Mr. Kennedy said, we're not necessarily off track this year, as we are above maintenance.
Yep.
So we're still doing that, just not quite the number we've thrown at it in the past, but we'll get there. All right. Any other questions, comments? Read the resolution, please.
Resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with J.K. Muir for the City of Loveland 2025 Street Repair Program.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mr. Ori?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Ping?
Yes.
Mayor Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Goodyear?
Yes.
Resolution 40 is adopted by a vote of 7-0.
Mr. Weinich?
Thank you, Mayor. Talking about some more roads. We're going to talk about Riverside Drive. There's a resolution in front of you tonight for a project project partnership agreement with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. As you know, we've been working for a while now on a plan and a goal to rehabilitate Riverside Drive. I don't have to even go into detail on what it looks like. You all have been down there. You see it slipping. It continues to slip. So back in 2021, the city sent a letter of intent to pursue the U.S. Army Corps' Planning Assistance Program. And out of that, basically, this was a sure shot way to get into the CAP 14 program, which is what we're going after now, what we're designing around. So we dropped in $150,000 out of the $300,000 for a plan at that point. Out of that plan, it was identified by the U.S. Army Corps that this is a viable project. So in 2023, they started developing the official planning document or detailed project report, and that was finally finished up at the end of last year. That was actually paid for by the U.S. Army Corps, so we didn't contribute anything to that. So they identified 6 possible alternatives, and it's actually it blew my mind. It's over a 790-page document, so I didn't include that in your packet.
Thank you.
It is available online. So it did go to public comment. There was a public comment period on it. As I said, they identified 6 different alternatives, which those included riprap, wall with tieback anchors, soil anchor reinforcement, chemical grouting, road relocation, and vegetated riprap combined with shot rock. They have a metric. The U.S. Army Corps has a metric that they use to identify the most cost-effective method that also meets the criteria. And that was identified to be the vegetated riprap and shot rock. So at this point, they're ready to pull the trigger on design. The design is done by the U.S. Army Corps themselves, and they basically bill us. This is a 65-35 split, so 65% of this project is being funded by the U.S. Army. 35% is the responsibility of the city. The total project at this point that we will be responsible for, this includes design and construction, will be $2,271,000. At this point, what we're asking the board to do is commit to the design portion of this, which is our portion of it will be $418,250. We did budget for this. It is a little bit higher than we had anticipated because they do expect the money to be fronted. So we do front this money. We don't pay as we go as the design is done, which is a little different than other projects that we're used to, specifically with ODOT projects. So we do pay it up front. Any money, and this was a question I asked because I'm just like this, but I asked, well, that's fine, but what if you don't utilize that many hours that you anticipate, putting towards design? And they assured me that we would be getting basically monthly reports, which is what I'm used to from any design firm, stating hours that were utilized and what the cost was. So at the end of end of the design portion, if it's less than the $418,000, that will get rolled into the construction cost. So that continues to get rolled over. As we had deeper conversations with the U.S. Army Corps about this, their pricing, their cost estimating is extremely conservative. So I do anticipate this to come down. I don't anticipate it to be quite the number it is. However, with that said, this design portion we have funded, or we have budgeted, we're ready for it. When we get to the construction, we will have to go hard after Ohio Public Works Commission money, State Issue 2 money, to help offset some of that cost that we'll have on the construction side. We'll also be going after the Hamilton County, the road fund. Early on, Cindy Kloffenstein, your former city engineer, did a great job of keeping OPWC and Hamilton County, the road fund, which is also run through basically OPWC, keeping them apprised of this project. So they are aware of this project. We haven't taken many dollars out of that fund to date. So we do feel we've got a pocket of money that we'll be able to go after. But the big thing for staff, for us, is we have to really right now they're saying this is a 12-month design, which I find very ambitious based on how long this project has taken so far. So we're going to keep on them and make sure we have a schedule locked down, because we need to know, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Kelsey, but it's usually August for OPWC submittals for the following July funding period. So we will have to monitor this very closely to make sure we're submitting when we need to get some of this money towards the construction. But with that, as I said, there is a resolution to enter into this public partnership with U.S. Army Corps. And if there's any questions, I'll entertain those now.
Any questions, Mr. Ori?
Mr. Winans, can you explain the vegetative riprap and shot rock? I understand shot rock and riprap, but what's vegetative?
So their big thing, so that what they're going to be doing is taking the soil, they're going to be excavating quite a bit out of the actual hillside. They'll be reinforcing it with, I don't know exactly what, I think it's 1s and 2s to that number, but inside of those pockets, what they want to see a final product, and this is one of the good things that we're working with the Army Corps, because if we would have been using a design firm, all this permitting we don't have to deal with. U.S. Army Corps is dealing with it. Well, because it's it's a national scenic river, the biggest thing is that it looks native once it's complete. So in those pockets where you're going to have the riprap and the shot rock, they're going to actually plant trees and different types of shrub type material that really have root systems that go back into the hillside, and those actually help maintain that hillside. So the trees you see currently, like a lot of stuff you see currently, those are trees that do not have great root systems, so they're not helping at all hold that hillside back. So it's really utilizing those tree roots as another mechanism to hold that hillside back.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Vice Mayor?
How did Riverside Drive fare with the latest round of flooding? And I know it was closed, and
we saw additional failure. I don't have a quantitative number as far as how much it sunk. We are not going to make it until we're going to have to do some spot repair, some asphalt repair prior to construction of this. I spoke to Mr. Wisby, our public works director, while that was going on, after it happened and whatnot, and he said it's visible that there is a difference. But I don't know measurably, what that number is, but it's a visible difference. Nothing that is dangerous or we need to think about closing the road, but we will have to do some asphalt repairs prior to construction of this. So some temporary Band-Aids.
But this project, once it's completed, assuming that it does what it's supposed to do, we shouldn't be having those problems.
We should not. So there's 3. They've identified 3. So in our city, within our city limits, within our project area, there's 3 identified work areas. And you will notice them if you go down the roadway. You do notice 3 defined areas that are the failing areas. So those will be once. So, besides just there is a lot of utility work to be done in there. There's a sanitary sewer that goes through there too. And actually, from what I understand, some of that, because of the failure, some of that sanitary sewer is compromised also. So that will be upgraded as part of this project. So you'll see, the roadway will have to be closed. It will have to be, it will look like a brand new roadway when it's done. And, U.S. Army Corps, this is their bread and butter. So I anticipate the alternative they've recommended is going to be the one that works. So,
anyone else? Yes, Mr. Hart.
You said they identified three spaces. I'm assuming they looked from like the entire roadway, like within our city limits. Like They identified those three as they were traversing.
Correct. Yeah. So in 2022, when they were doing this before the planning study, I think was very broad. But when they got into the detailed report, they did geotechnical explorations. So even areas that maybe they thought looked a little sketchy, they did explorations to see kind of what the underlying soils looked like. So yes, they looked at the whole corridor. We did not identify. We simply said we know we have a problem from essentially the railroad tracks to our city limits. Help us.
Right.
And so yes, they identified those three locations.
Thank
you, Mr. Bateman.
Are we going to have to front them the money for the construction cost as well?
Yes, and that's why we have to keep an eye on this schedule. So yes, that the answer to that is yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Ori?
Quick question, Mr. White, the sewage, is it riverside of the road or hillside of the road?
Riverside.
Is it really? Wow. Okay. That could be significant. Okay.
That's why we're doing this. Mr. Peg?
Yeah, just a couple of things. One is in regard to I know that Mr. Kennedy mentioned before a lot of extra effort having to go into this road and so forth. Do we have any sense of how much of our budget is going towards just maintaining this road that is money we're going to save in the future as a result of this?
I don't have that number for you currently. I can certainly provide that. I would say, off the top of my head, knowing how often it seems to me, at least in talking to Scott, it seems like they've done significant repairs about once every 2 years. So I would assume, you're dropping easily 75 to 100,000 every 2 years. But I can get you those numbers.
Yeah, I guess the other thing too is just on the work sites. You had mentioned before, the notion of basically new road when they're finished because they're going to be doing such extensive work. That work will only be in work sites 1, 2, and 3. It's not like the whole road is going to look new. It's just the work site portion.
Correct. As it sits today, it's just the work sites. Now, I will say, I think that's something when we do the road program this should be a 2027 project. I think that's something we should be looking at. So, we should coordinate our efforts with our road program with this project and do the whole road at the same time. It would be my suggestion.
Right. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right. Read the resolution, please.
Resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a project partnership with the Department of the Army to complete design and construction of an emergency stream bank stabilization project along East Kemper Road, Riverside Drive.
Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Ori?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Ping?
Yes.
Mayor Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Goodyear?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Resolution 41 is adopted by a vote of 7-0.
Mr. Medler?
Thank you, Mayor. It's hard to believe we've already finished the first quarter of 2025. Moving right along. The biggest indicator that we usually do is our income tax. That's something that the last couple of years kind of has been fluctuating a bit. 24 gave us a little bit of a scare before it finished off strong. 2025 started off strong as well, so we look to be on pace to get our budget amount, which is outstanding. Other revenues and expenditures have been pretty much as expected so far. Major projects happening. Of course, the fire station is being built, and they're doing a pretty good job with our finances with that. Chris and I have been kind of coordinating on when we are able to pull the money from USDA and then get our expenses paid as well. Kind of a juggling act, since this is not your typical large project where you get your bond proceeds all at once and then start paying it off. We are able to go month to month, really only draw down what we need to get our contractor paid for that month. And we are getting our money quickly from the federal government, so that's very nice to see. Other projects are going pretty well. Our investment revenue seems pretty steady. We're not seeing 5% on our interest rates anymore, but it's pretty solid in the fours. Our Raymond James investments are doing pretty well. We finally got rid of a little nagging CD that had been open for 5 years at 1%. And we saw all of our other CDs were doing well in the 4 and 5%. We even asked, so hey, can we just kind of buy this one out and refund it and get something better? But then we were told, well, with the fees you would incur, it really wouldn't be worth it to reinvestment. So we just kind of had to take our medicine and finish that term out. That was recently finished in March. So that 1.1% rate is up to 4% on a new CD. So I know it's boring, but pretty exciting to move right ahead with that. So that's more money that goes into the special project funds, which will definitely be used pretty quickly on our projects.
All right. Anything else?
Those are the
your highlights?
Quote unquote highlights.
Okay. Does anybody have any comments or questions? Okay, I think we need a motion to approve the first quarter.
I'll move to approve the first quarter financial report.
Thank you. Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Vice Mayor Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Ping?
Yes.
Mayor Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Goodyear?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mr. Ori?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Anything further on the income tax?
Nothing further, Mayor.
All right. Mr. Weinich.
Thank you, Mayor. As is usual, our quarterly update on our progress with PFAS. The last update was the end of January. Since that time, we have been submitting and resubmitting comments back to the Ohio EPA. I'm down to two. I was down to 2 comments. Answered those 2 comments. Got 2 additional comments. So it's a game right now. I'm playing with them. So I'm trying to win. I do feel confident I can win because if we win, we have applied in March. We applied for that $2 million grant money for design, which I'm very anxious to get because we can get rolling on design. I'm hoping. I reached out to Ohio EPA again, and they told me it's in the manager's office, ready to come out. So hopefully, if that general plan gets approved, we'll be good to go. And we should hear in June or July if we're funded for that grant money through WSRLA, which is the Water Supply Revolving Loan Account through Ohio EPA. So we're working through that. We did, as we committed to, of taking quarterly samples. We were a couple weeks late, but we took additional PFAS samples of our finished water. Our last sample, which was before the first of the year, we were around 17 parts per trillion. This recent one, we were at about 14 parts per trillion. And on our website, we continue to show, we update the graph, which basically shows every time we take a finished water sample, we update what our parts per trillion is on our PFAS, which is just PFOS. We have no other out of the 6 constituents. We only have one that's above the proposed limit. So we'll continue to update that. That's showing a normal trend. It's a trend I expected, which is nothing's changing. It's the same concentrations that we've seen for the last 5 years. So we're continuing to work through that. Other than that, we're keeping our ear to the ground about any new regulations or updates in the regulations based on the new administration. So we're paying attention to that. And with that, if you have any questions, it's a simple update today.
Any questions, comments? Thing?
Just a curiosity on before when we got sampling, I know there was one well in particular that was much higher than the others. Is that trend still continuing? That's the higher number that you gave us.
Yeah. So that one. So we have 3 wells, groundwater wells, and the well 6. Well 6 is the highest concentration. And what we've actually done, and this is something we've talked to Ohio EPA about, which is hopefully helping our cause with this general plan, is we don't need all 3 wells. Okay. So basically you have a redundant well in a sense, but you do need to exercise it. You do need to run it, keep it fresh. So that well we are running at the bare minimum. So if it's, I can't remember what the last one was out of there, so I don't want to be misquoted. However, it's somewhere in the 30s, and then we've got like a 17 and around a 14 out of those 3 wells. So what we're doing is we're not running that higher concentrated well as often. So what that does is your finished water is coming down, is lower than what it could be. So, if we were just going in blind and just saying, just run them all, our finished water would be higher than 14. We would be sending out higher than 14. But we're paying attention to that. That's something I've worked with our superintendent, Ricky Gregory. He completely understands it. And, they, based on the log books that they have to keep and what our well run times are, we are doing it. So.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions, comments? All right. Thank you. I believe the last thing on the agenda is we do have a resignation from our Finance Commission. And I am recommending that we appoint Kent Blair to serve the remainder of the term, which runs through December 31st, 2027. And Mr. Blair actually was our council rep on Finance Commission for at least 2 years. Was it 2 years or more? 4 years. For 4 years on our Finance Commission. So I'm asking for a motion to affirm Mr. Blair's appointment to the Finance Commission for the remainder of the term, which runs through December 31st, 2027.
So moved.
Your second? Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Ping.
John. Yes.
Mayor Bailey.
Yes.
Mr. Bateman.
Yes.
Mr. Goodyear.
Yes.
Mr. Hart.
Yes.
Mr. Ori.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Phelps.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
And we have a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
You're a mess.
Wow.
Is there a second?
Second.
Call the roll, please.
It's garbage.
Mayor Bailey.
Yes.
Mr. Bateman.
Yes.
Mr. Goodyear.
I say
Yes.
Mr. Hart.
yes.
Mr. Ori.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Phelps.
Crazy.
Who?
Mayor Phelps.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Ping.
Chuckling.
This is outrageous.
Dave's already gone.
This is outrageous.
It's you.
Dave ran his